What's up guys, how are you doing? And welcome back to the channel. Today I want to go over a bunch of Unchained combos. After 3 events now playing the deck, I think it is about time I share with you my thought process and how to approach each time I go first. There's a couple ways to do so, and I think there are mainly 3 different lines that you can go about, and how each line may go depending on the interruption. I hope this may prove useful for those of you going to Dortmund, and if you were going to one of the YCSs that just passed, I'm sorry I couldn't share this, but for my own testing partner's sake and myself, we do want to keep an edge when we can. I can't always give away every single piece of information. But before I begin, huge shout outs to tsx1.com. Use the code potato10, 10% off on your sleeves. Again, I use these every event, so I urge you guys to do the same. Great quality. And yeah, let's get into the video. Okay, so I'm going to show you a basic tour guide combo that can also be done with any red and trap, or really just any way to get a couple bodies in field. And the main point I'm trying to show here is playing around Nib, and in the fashion that I do so. Plays around Nib, but also plays around the stealing cards the best. So let's start here, and we'll go with Tour Guide, Rhino. And let's make our Yama all simple here. Nothing really crazy. We get our effects off, and we're going to send Shayama, and we're going to set... sorry, no, we're not going to set Shayama. We are going to not do that. We are going to send Shavara, and then add something else. It doesn't matter. Add a Ruha, just put it in the grave, I guess. We set this now. No, sorry, it does need to be a Ruha because you're going to float into and you need to get into Sarama here. Yeah, so then here you go. Effects, pop this to summon Sarama. Right, I forgot. I'm used to doing this with the red dog, so it's slightly different. When you lead a red dog, then you special this immediately from deck, and it's fine. If you lead a Ruha, then you special this, you pop the Ruha and summon Shavara. Either way, you should get to this point in field where you have a body. The Shayama is either in the field or grave. It has to be in play somewhere with the effect unused to revive. A body, which can be Shayama in this case, Sarama on field, and the Yama. So if you get nibbed here, they'll have a nib. And let's give them their nib token. There's a couple options we can do from here. What's really important is preserving the Shayama and the Yama. So you still have several plays. If you set a card and you blow it up and you can bring this back. I think the general play here was, at the recall, it's bring this back. And then it's not pop this, right? It's here. Then we link these. This goes to the bottom of the deck. We make Rage. And then we want to reset this so we can revive it. It's important you pick this one for this line, so you can revive the Rage. And you're going to blow the Rage up, and you add back Shavara. Right, and this is why in this line you wanted to lead Shavara as well. And then you can destroy this, special from deck, and then special summon from deck the blue guy back out, and make the Rage. Right, so yeah, this deck you had to add a Ruha, or this line, it was just slightly different. It's not always this way. It's just kind of looking for this type of pattern where you can do this type of play through Nib, and then you can revive this on their turn. Link with a Nib, although oftentimes it's better to make them commit their battle phase. Because this is fine. You set a card, you add the follow-up, and it's okay. This still revives as well. And for the most part, it's okay. So it's a decent way to play around through Nib. Alright, now let's say, though, that they don't Nib you. So this is not there. This is in the grave. This should be an extra deck. Should be an extra deck. This is on the field. This is on the field. And so is the Yama. So here what we want to do is we want to link these away for Rage. And this way we don't get punished by Nib as much. This being in the grave is helpful. If we get nibbed here, it's very similar to the last play. We can just do the same thing and burn the second Rage. Or you can Yama back a Rage as well. And that's also just fine. The point being you don't have to do anything crazy. But yeah, so here we got the Rage. And here if the Rage goes to the grave, actually, the cool thing is you can revive the Rage instead of... No, the Shaman comes back. No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Ignore me. Same thing. But yes, Rage here. And what we want to do is reset. And this doesn't matter that we're going to blow up a rage here. Because, I mean, like, we can revive it. It's not that big of a deal. What's more important, though, is this gives us Shavara in hand. You should always try an Shavara in hand, especially as people start preparing more for this matchup. Because, one, this could be used as an interrupt. You can use this to pop the card you set when you get off Shavara. When they kill your Caesar or you detach it off Caesar. So we'll get a bomb from deck and to discard a pop a card. So an interrupt in that regard. But also, if they use talents or change a heart, being able to pop your own Caesar so it's not a liability against you is very important. So really, really helpful. It's almost always end on a Shavara in hand if you can. When you ever have excess DD cards, setting yourself up with this in hand as like follow-up and as a bit of counterplay against their tech cards, that's fantastic. Anyways, you get to this point, you still have the interrupt here, and then it's very simple. You just destroy for Shiyama, special summon the other 6 from the deck. And this is just Rage here. This is a bit better into Ultimate Slayer as well. Yes, I can spin back the Caesar, but it's fine. You still have the Rage, which will come out at any point. It's a hidden through the back row, so they can't really capitalize on it too much. You have floaters, and you just have several ways to go about things, so you're not really overly concerned. With Ultimate Slayer, you still have multiple layers through this, and Yama. Your floating potential, still very strong, and this is like my favorite way kind of hedge all the interrupts. Yes, you don't have the pop trap here. It's a little bit worse than like a standard combo, but I think this is way better versus most things. Because its follow-up is stronger, it's safer into hand traps, and it's safer into steel cards. So yeah, this is how I play a standard turn 1 out. Let me show you another play though. Okay, so I'm going to show you what a play may look like if we have red, trap, and then a blank card to destroy. Give ourselves a thrust here, because this is the one that commonly pops up. So say it's post side now, and I'm warning about Yugioh Swarm, I'm warning about Bestials, and I'm going to be conscious. Typically this happens when you have thrust in hand as well, because you can play more greedy into Nib and feel comfortable. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play my turn out rather normally. And I can summon Shiyama from the deck. I just want to get a free graveyard effect here, so I'm going to cycle Shiyama, effect to destroy, pop a Ruha, get Shavara. Nothing here should be that uncommon. And we can make Yama here. We trigger both effects. Obviously, we've already used... this case, we used the red dog, so... no, we have a normal summoned. This combo, we add Sarama. And then we're going to set a card. And again, I try to go for this one already established. This line, though, depends on the rest of your hand. Like, this one's a little bit iffier, because it's definitely... there is a bit of risk if you get escape. But it's a bit better if you're end field, so I'd probably go escape here if you have just these. But you can always kind of play it by ear. Here I already have escape, so I'd get the other one. It has to be one you haven't used. And I guess I can play by ear what I want to set off of. What I want to set off of the Sarama. But the point is here I can destroy this now, and I summon Shiyama. Special from deck, get a Shavar from deck. And DB, there we go. So here we threaten a rank 6, and that's pretty good. And they're inclined to Nib here. Now the higher value play, of course, would be to summon a name from the deck here that you can then normal summon, set and pop, or would be like normal summon this before triggering Shiyama, set the trap, pop this trap special from deck, and then do this, pop this to special from deck. Then you make Link 2 Rage Trap. However, I don't like how that plays into Disruption. If you do this, this threatens Nib here, and if they Nib here, then Sarama's still held. And if they don't Nib here, you make Caesar. And you say, okay, great, now they can't Nib you. What else is important here with this line is there's no Lights or Darks in the grave. So they don't actually have an opportunity to Yugioh Swarm you before you use Sarama. Now at this point, your talents is probably going to be dead. There's never going to be a spot for you to use Thrust or talents. So I'm okay just popping it, get the trap set up, and then making Rage. So yes, this is lower efficiency. Your cards don't get as much value out of them. However, you play around hand traps a lot better. In this version, we aren't ending with Shavar in hand, so I try and on Shavar hand as much as possible. In this case, I maybe try to find an alternate line that does both. But if I can just play around Nib and Yugioh Swarm, I'll try to do that. In the mirror match, however, with a lot more steel cards, I may switch up my line again to prioritize the Shavara. especially because you're doing this more post side. Other matchups, though, this is fantastic. I'm a big fan of this play. We'll be having to keep track on how meta trends move forward. If we are seeing a lot of Bestials, then this is absolutely what you want to do. It's very hard to counterplay this. This is where the Bestials feel kind of shit, and my big fear playing them moving forward. But if we are seeing mostly steel cards, it's really, really important on Shavar in hand, so you'd want to switch this up a bit. Yeah, so obviously if you were playing it out with max efficiency, you'd play it a little differently. Most lines would look something like we're at the Yama point here, and you'd have the card you just set. Be along the lines of like normal summon, set other trap, pop this, special from deck, get Rikeya into play, which is still cool. Getting Rikeya into play is nice, because being able to revive it means you get more flexibility through disruption, and more flexibility around steel cards. It's not majorly important though. You get a special summon this out by popping anything, be Rikeya or Sarama, doesn't matter. And then you can see here, it's the same thing. You have 2 6s and then Yama plus a body. Here you don't have to pop the thrust though, it was never got rid of. So this is how to play maximum efficiency, and this is like in a vacuum how you're taught to play Unchained. This is what all the standard combos may show. It's like stuff like this where you just get max value out of Sarama. And yes, that's true in some cases if you have the bare bones, but I try to avoid it because oftentimes it is the most volatile, and there's very easy ways and relatively low cost ways to avoid stuff. The other big way to play around stuff that's important to keep an eye out for is when you have Book of Eclipse. When you have Book of Eclipse, going wide with your bodies that aren't link monsters can be nice into Nibiru, as long as you keep like a Shayama engrave. That way, when you go Nib, you chain Eclipse, you set all you guys face down. Shayama can pop one of them, you float, you can summon Rikeya. Rikeya can pop another one, that can float as well. And Yama can also bring back one and pop your set one as well. So all your set ones still should get cycled, and as long as they are fresh effects, you aren't at fear of losing any bodies due to the Eclipse. I've only had to do this once in tournament. I know Pack said he's done it multiple times, but it is a way to play through and around Nibiru that is not always at the forefront of our mind, but it's important to remember. Okay, so those are the 2 main combos, and I guess the third kind of one. I wanted to show you guys that I think have been integral for my success so in these tournaments. At the time of filming this, Cancun hasn't happened. I'm hoping that one goes well, and I figured by now hopefully people are catching on how to play this, and I want to push you guys just over the edge where I think we are. And again, I'm sorry I couldn't share this earlier, but I'm not a charity. When I have a competitive edge like this, and it's also not just mine to give away, then I will withhold it. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you'd like to see this type of content of just the combos and small meta technical play, just let me know, and that type of content will come out in the future. But yeah, that's it for now.